Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how to make these castle cookies, so stay tuned and I will show you how. That I use a 5x3 castle cookie cutter, some edible food pens, some brushes, rose, pink, and gold food coloring, white sanding sugar. The super gold luster dust is optional, and you will need some alcohol or some extract for that, and that is all, so let's get started. Alright guys, to get started on this cookie, I'm going to have to draw my castle on there. I am using two different colors and two different brands. It doesn't matter which one. I happen to like the Americolor. It glides on really nicely. I will be having to draw it because as you see here, it's really hard to get a visual picture of how you want your castle to be. So what I'm going to do here is, I'm going to start with my triangles first. I'm just going to draw the triangles at the top here where you see these triangles. So now I'm going to do this part here only because I have these sticking out here to guide me where they're going to go. So I'm just going to make a little rectangle, again not going towards the edge. Yes, they have the little things sticking out of there, but I'm not going to go that far, again because of the icing. So I'm just going to roughly guesstimate, and this one here doesn't have one that shows, but I'm going to again roughly estimate around where it should go. So I'm going to say something around here. And then here again, there's another one, so I'm going to do that one. And then I'm just going to attach these here. Now I'm going to bring these two down, almost to the bottom. Again on the other side. And you can decide how you want to design your cookie. I'm just giving you a rough idea of what you can do. And here I'm just going to go from this end to this end right in the middle. I just decided to use that as my height. And after I'm done with this and let it dry, I'm going to do a little kind of like, I don't know, with like a brick type shape thing that the castles have at the top. So even though this is straight, I will be doing that design towards the end when it goes on top. So this one here I'm going to bring all the way down as well. And here I'm going to start around here. I don't want to make it too high. And again, this one will have that top thing that sort of goes like this, like that, so forth and so forth. So I'm just going to scrape that off because it's going to annoy me seeing it there. And this is how I scratch off my lines if I happen to have some lines on the side, and if I put my icing on there and they still show, I just scrape it off like that. So then I'm going to do the castle door, which is just a big arch like this, and that's it. Oh, well, here I just drew the little windows, but you won't be able to see that when your icing is put on there, so I just kind of did it like that just to give you an idea how that's going to look. So that's my rough draft of my outline. Alright, so let's get started. I'm going to be using my pinks and my gold color here. I will be adding the gold dust towards the end. So I do suggest starting off with the top part, but as you see here, you can go ahead and start anywhere. Look at this like a coloring page and from a coloring book, and then just fill in the blanks with the colors that you wish. You can use any other colors that you like. I'm going to be using the pink and the golds for this. I'm going to be using here a tip 1, and I'm going to follow my lines. And you're going to do these to all the triangle roof peaks. So I'm just going to move the video on pretty much to everything because it is repetitive. Okay, so now that I finished the top part here, I'm going to work with the bottom darker pink tiers here. I'm not going to do the ones that is closest to the gold color because I'm going to let that crust a little bit before I go ahead and add this, just so I don't get any bleeding. So just fill it in. Now moving on to the door. And then I'm just gonna let this crust. I gave everything else some time to crust, so I'll be able to do the pink at the top after this. I forgot to do the door after I did the top part there, or else it would have dried at the same time. So I'm doing it now, and then I'm gonna switch to my pink, and I'm gonna fill in those little square pieces at the top, leaving these rectangle pieces available because I will have to fill those in after this top here dries. That's it for this part here. So I'm gonna give it a few minutes to dry. Alright guys, so I'm gonna go ahead and fill in this pink right here. Now you can go ahead and fill the entire pink area, which is the top part and the bottom part, from where it has been divided with the edible marker. But I'm going to separate them. I'm gonna fill this in and then let it crust for a few minutes, and then fill in the top parts there, just to give it a little bit of texture to it, a little bit of a separation instead of doing it just flat. But that's okay. That's nothing wrong with that. It's completely fine. You can go ahead and just fill it all in if you like. It'll just save you a little bit of time. Just fill this whole thing in. Okay, so just give this some time to crust, and I'm gonna move on to this one here just to get the video rolling. So again, I'm just gonna fill in the parts that are going to be in the softer pink, leaving those rectangles here empty. I will do that later because I have to put my sugar crystals on there. Alright, so I'm gonna give this some time to dry so I can move on to these parts right here, and we'll almost be done. As you see here, I did start off with the little details there, so I can go ahead and do that with this one here. Those are supposed to be like little bricks, because you know that castles have a lot of bricks on there, but I do want to leave some space here on these towers, or I don't know what they're called, but yeah, I'm going to be doing little windows. So I want to make sure that when I put these little bricks that they don't take up space where I'm going to do the little windows. And then just making little tiny lines, and I believe this is still tip number 1. Yeah, I can actually start making the lines, the little bricks on the castle here, while I wait for the other one, for that one to dry. And you can do these any way that you like, as many as you like, or you can just leave them out altogether. Now this is optional. If you don't want to add this, or can't get a hold of it, or you can leave it out and just leave it like this, but I think it looks really pretty with it, so I highly suggest using it. Now if you're making these castles, I'm sure they're going to be for little ones, or probably like under 12, maybe under the age of 12. I do use alcohol. I believe this is vodka. And I do add it onto the powder to put it on there. The alcohol dries almost instantly, so that's why I use it, but you can also use like lemon extract or vanilla extract. But I have been using this for a while, and it's just very, very minimal, so I don't think it should be something of concern. But if you don't want to use it, by all means, don't use it if you don't want to. But I do add just a little bit. I put my alcohol in a little squeezy bottle here. I believe I got this from Walmart for like $1. And all you do is just add just like a couple drops of it. And I have this little glass container that's very, very helpful. And I have a little brush. And what I do is I just put some of this gold dust, and I did get this online. It's called Super Gold, You see there's this non-toxic, and it's like I said, it's very, very little that's going on here, so I wouldn't worry about it if you're wondering if it's edible or not. And I just go ahead and don't over drench it because it'll soften up your icing, and then just add it on there. I brushed some on here already, but I'm just going to brush it. I usually give it like 3 coats, but that's what I do for these. So I'm gonna do this for this one here so you can see the big difference. I just wanted to show you how it's gonna look before and after. So that's how I'm gonna want to have it. So I'm gonna give this one 2 coats as well. Alright, so now I'm gonna go ahead and just do somewhat of a window looking. It's not quite like a circle, but more like a little arched window. And this is optional. And I'm just going to do also a little line of yellow or the gold color underneath it, and then I'm going to go over it with a little bit more of that gold with the brush. That way it can look a little bit more uniform and have a little bit more of that gold color mixed into the rest of the cookie.